If you drove through flooding this week, you are not alone. Mechanics have been turning away cars because they've been so many of them damaged in floodwaters.
And as water levels continue to rise, problems continue to grow across Dane County. The road closures you should know about before heading out the door this morning.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to News 3 This Morning, 6 o'clock right now on this Thursday, August 23rd.
I am only smiling this morning because I'm thinking about today and not kind of what's to come in the weather department.
Live in the now, Dee.
Tunnel vision,
right?
Yeah.
Tunnel vision just today.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Another really nice day ahead.
It really is. Sunshine in the forecast today and beautiful conditions. Humidity will stay low. We'll start with Platteville this morning. Our Queen Bee Radio Skycam is not disappointing early today. A nice sunrise underway across southern Wisconsin. Skies are clear. It's 56 in Platteville this morning, 55 in Madison, so we're actually up 1 degree from last hour, 55 in the Dells and 54 in Janesville. Our forecast today has high temperatures right around 77 degrees this afternoon. Winds have shifted to the southwest, so it'll be just a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. Still, though, as I mentioned, low humidity. Kind of a mess on the first alert traffic maps this morning, still dealing with closures. Here is the latest. East Johnson Street is closed between North Baldwin and North First Street due to flooding there. That may be a long-term closure. Otherwise, elsewhere across the area, Beltline ramps at University are still closed. We're looking at road closures on Highway 14, Highway 69, Highway 78, and 92, mainly all in western Dane County. These roads have been closed for several days, and with more rain in the forecast, may not be good news.
And we may see more to the south as this rising water kind of goes downstream.
Go somewhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, thanks, Hattie.
You're welcome.
So we just heard Hattie talking about the possibility of more rain tonight into tomorrow. Emergency officials in Madison are getting ready for the lake levels to go up. Now, so far, the effect of Monday's rain has been minimal downtown, but the city says water released from Lake Mendota and Lake Monona will likely leak into sewers. We're expecting to get an update a little bit later on this afternoon from the city engineering department, maybe from the mayor as well, talk about standing water downtown and what effect it might have on traffic and homes around that area. So there are specific concerns this morning about East Washington being flooded next week.
Right now, we're already seeing closures in that area, and city officials may need to start planning detours near the Yahara River in particular. Christina Laurie is live this morning near Tenney Park to tell us what we can expect for the commute this morning. Christina, good morning.
Good morning, Danica and Adam. This stretch of East Johnson Street between North First Street and North Baldwin Street is closed in both directions this morning, causing major headaches for drivers who take this route to work. Traffic is being detoured a few blocks to our south to East Washington Street, an already busy thoroughfare, so drivers there can expect heavy backups. At one point during last night's commute, traffic there was backed up nearly the entire stretch of the road, all the way down to the Capitol. Officials expect that to happen once again. Unfortunately, this isn't the only closure drivers downtown will face as water levels continue to rise. East Main Street is also closed at the Yahara River. The water there is completely covering the paths. You cannot even tell that any paths were there in the first place. In the meantime, you're asked to leave plenty of time to get to whatever destination you're going to. East Johnson will be closed until this water recedes, which could take at least 2 weeks to happen, and things could get worse before they get better. East Washington could close as soon as next week, and in that case, drivers would be detoured all the way to Willie Street. What a nightmare that would be. So please leave plenty of time for your early morning commute.
Absolutely, and this is also affecting beaches in the area. Every single beach in Dane County, including Tenney Beach, where Christina is there, is closed today. So thank you, Christina. And she is right by the Tenney locks this morning, and Dane County opened those locks yesterday, releasing 3 to 6 inches of water to go downstream. So now people living along Lake Monona and Lake Wabisa, as well as Lake Kaganza, they're all bracing for flooding in their neighborhoods. Monona Grove's high school football team and Dane County jail inmates spent yesterday filling sandbags for people to take to their yards. In Lake Wabisa, the Clean Lakes Alliance says water levels are now at 100-year flood levels. The organization tweeted this graphic yesterday, this photo. The lake reached just over 847 feet this week, and it likely won't be the only lake to hit the 100-year flood level. The Alliance says Mendota, Monona, and Kaganza are also close to reaching that mark. 8 families in Belleville are back in their homes this morning after the Sugar River hit dangerously high levels there. You may remember the dam breached Tuesday night in that area, but the water has since receded several feet. As the high waters, though, continue to move south, there is now concern for people living in places like Albany and Broadhead. We've gotten reports of minor flooding in those areas so far, but police are watching to make sure it doesn't get worse.
So there are a lot of people trying to get their cars fixed after all the rain this week, and it's not easy getting into the mechanic right now. Hundreds of cars were abandoned on the highways and streets around Madison during the flooding Monday night and in western Dane County. Now, mechanics at Westtown Monona Tire turned away more than 3 dozen cars this week because they're backlogged with water damage repairs. One of those mechanics said the advanced technology in modern cars is actually making the problem worse.
There's so many more computers in a car nowadays, and a lot of them are internal, like inside the cabin of a vehicle. And a lot of these vehicles got water in them, you know, filled up with water. So you wouldn't pour a glass of water on your laptop at home on the counter, right? I mean, it's over then. So the same thing with vehicles.
Ted Manning says even if your car seems fine, if you drove it through the floods, it may have battery break or internal damage you won't be able to see until it potentially breaks down in the future.
Never good. And a lot of you have been asking how you can help the people affected by flooding. The People's Community Bank in Mazo-Maney is actually starting an assistance fund to help people living around there. Any donations will help those most affected in Mazo, Arena, Barneveld, Plain, Spring Green, and Richland Center. At one point, about 100 people were living at the Mazo-Maney Fire Station, and the Red Cross has opened a shelter at the elementary school there as well.
So speaking of that shelter, Governor Walker is going to visit that shelter set up at Mazo-Maney's grade school later on this morning. He was actually in a plane yesterday, or helicopter rather, looking at the damage throughout Dane County. He's declared a state of emergency for the county, which means it can get help fixing roads faster with help from the DOT. The governor says the people impacted by the flooding will get help from the county and the state. It's unclear, though, if the federal government will help as well.
6:07 right now. If there's one thing kids like less than going back to school, I'd imagine it'd be the vaccinations they have to get beforehand. I am raising my hand right now. We're talking about why they're so important with our medical expert, Dr. Mandira Mehra, here in a couple minutes.
Sunrise today is in about 4 minutes or so, 6:12 this morning. It's been beautiful so far this morning. You're looking at it live in Platteville this morning on the Queen Bee Radio Skycam. Should be a really nice day overall, but it's what's coming tonight into tomorrow that Hattie's focusing on in her First Alert forecast next on News 3 this morning.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. Another crisp start to the morning. Temperatures are down in the 50s early this morning, but a nice warm up expected through the day. It'll be just like it was yesterday. Here's a look at high temperatures yesterday. We had mid and upper 70s, and that's likely where we'll be again today. Plenty of sunshine and low humidity to go along with that. Now, it's what's coming in the forecast, which is a little problematic. Tomorrow is an alert day. Showers and thunderstorms will return after midnight tonight. Some of those storms may be strong to severe tomorrow afternoon. And there also is the potential for some heavy rain. Again, any additional rain is likely to cause problems in those spots that are already flooded. Here's the severe weather outlook for Friday, and that yellow slight risk area does get into southwestern Wisconsin. So areas like Platteville and Prairie du Chien may see some strong to severe thunderstorms late in the day tomorrow. Rain totals are likely going to be at least a ½ inch here across southern Wisconsin. Some spots, though, up to an inch or maybe even higher in the southwestern corner of the state. Good news, though, for the Northwoods. The northern half of the state is going to see quite a bit of rain from this event as well. They're actually a little dry and could really use the moisture. Here's a look from the Edgewater Skycam this morning. Skies are clear behind the Capitol. Sun's coming up. It's 55 here in Madison and the Dells, 55 in Mineral Point, 59 is the warm spot in Monroe this morning. Dew point trend is going to tick up just a little bit, but not too much. We're still seeing those dew point numbers less than 60 degrees, which means you're likely not even going to notice the humidity today. So staying very comfortable. Here's a look at Future Track, our forecast model, and it will show you that temperatures will warm quickly through the 60s into the mid 70s by lunchtime today. Today would be a great day to take lunch outside if you have the opportunity to do so. Sunshine in the forecast all afternoon with highs in the mid to upper 70s, right around 77 here in Madison. Now, no weather issues through the evening. You may just notice an increase in the clouds from the west, but after midnight tonight, that's when showers and thunderstorms begin to move into the area. There'll likely be a round of rain through the morning, maybe a bit of a dry period, and then showers and thunderstorms returning again for the afternoon into the nighttime hours tomorrow night. All that rain, though, should clear the area pretty early on Saturday morning. Your extended forecast takes us back into the 80s after kind of a cool day tomorrow. Keep in mind, tomorrow is an alert day with the rain. Otherwise, we're in the 80s and even mid and upper 80s with more humidity as we go right through next week. Now let's get a look at your first alert traffic maps with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, we're starting off, no problem showing up on the Beltline this morning. Things are moving well so far in both directions. Checking out some of the routes here in Dane County, though, still roads closed due to flooding, including East Johnson Street between 1st Street and Baldwin Street. That's over by Tenney Park. Just make sure you plan ahead and give yourself some extra time. No problems with delays downtown right now. Volume is not a factor. And other main routes leading into the city are cruising along at the usual speeds with no major crashes or delays. With your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
All right, Josh, thanks so much. Thank you, Hattie. 6:14, almost your time this morning, and the CDC is reminding parents to add vaccinations to the kids' back-to-school checklist.
Last school year, you may remember, we saw record-breaking levels of flu-like sicknesses and hospitalizations, and measles is also now a big concern with at least 107 measles cases confirmed across 21 states. Our medical expert, Dr. Mandira Mehra from SSM Health, is here with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I always want to give you an opportunity. We've had this conversation about why vaccinations are so important.
Right.
We're talking about a disease, at least in measles, that, I mean, we've been talking about, that can be prevented. Why
Yes.
are these vaccinations so important?
These vaccinations are so important. This is an unacceptable and really just sad tragedy that we see every year. The numbers are reaching record-breaking highs not only in America, but especially in Europe. I know we tend to say, wow, we want to be like the Europeans, right? We try drinking like them and having their healthy lifestyles, but this is one way we don't want to be like them. The anti-vax movement, unfortunately, started from a study that came out in 1998, which has now been revoked. Even one of the authors of the paper lost his medical license. There's no truth to the vaccine autism scare that kind of started this whole movement. The point is that things like measles are very treatable with this vaccine, very preventable, I should say. And so because of that, we know that it's a very infectious disease. It's very spreadable. So when you think about surfaces in schools and children sharing, mucous membranes and being very close in contact, this is a great time to remind parents to definitely not skip that vaccine.
It's the connection and what you can do to other kids. It's not just your own.
This is the sad thing.
There's kind of like the selfish selfish side to this.
Right. So, of course, you think, well, I'm not going to vaccinate my child. But you have to remember, in daycares, preschools, schools in general, there's small children that are not able to be fully vaccinated at that age. And there's children that are immunosuppressed and lifelong may not be able to be vaccinated. So when we see these outbreaks, it's taking out populations of people. It's potentially deadly. It can cause encephalitis, pneumonia, really just deadly things. And in children especially, the mortality rate goes up. So this is just a great reminder that not only in Europe, but also in America, we really need to vaccinate our children.
We wanted to talk to you, too, about caregivers. There was a study that came out this week that said those who are helping out a loved one, a relative with terminal cancer are up to 7 times more likely to experience some mental health issues. I mean, maybe unsurprisingly, but can you kind of give your take on why this is and whether or not you were surprised by the numbers?
Of course. And so this is something that touches all of us in some way, whether it's our direct loved one or someone we know. And of course, it's distressing. It is a no-brainer, like you say, that it's going to affect us. But I think the number that's surprising here is that 5 to 7 times more likely to have then some kind of mental illness. Something like 70 hours a week are spent caring for someone in their last 3 months of life with a terminal cancer. And so you think about how much we work, maybe 40 hours, some people work 60, but think about trying to work and then also spending maybe 70 hours caring for a loved one.
More than another full-time job.
More than another full-time job that the average American works. So that in itself is a huge stressor, not to mention the lack of support, whether it be financial, mental, those kinds of things. So a study like this really points out all the great aspects that we really need to support people that are caretakers, that do provide such an invaluable service.
Care for the caregiver, for sure.
There you
Absolutely.
go. Yeah.
Dr. Merritt, good to see you.
Great
Thank
to
you
see you
again.
guys.
We appreciate it.
Thanks.
So we have talked with Dr. Merritt before about the health benefits of knowing where your food comes from. Coming up, we'll let you know about a unique opportunity in the farm-to-table world.
And there's a chance for some heavy rain here over the next couple of days. Be sure to get out and enjoy today. This morning is just gorgeous out there. The sun is blazing. Hattie's updating the forecast next on News 3 this morning.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Hattie McLean. Your first alert weather forecast for today starts with clear skies and cooler conditions. Here's a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam here in Madison. Another day to dry out today with sunshine in the forecast. It's 55 here in the capital city as well as Mineral Point, 53 in Prairie du Chien. The Dow's checking in with 55 this hour as well. Dew points are in the low 50s, so it's not very humid out this morning, and humidity levels are expected to stay low through the day. Here's a look at your forecast first. Highs will reach 77 this afternoon with plenty of sunshine. Alert day for tomorrow, though, with rain returning to the area. There is a slight risk for severe thunderstorms. Have a wonderful day.
All right, Hattie, thank you so much. So I think Adam put it best when he said any friends with Exact Sciences stock should be buying lunch and dinner today.
Show them the money.
Stocks for the Madison-based company are up more than 30% compared to this time yesterday after announcing it'll work with Pfizer to sell its at-home colon cancer screening kits. Now, Pfizer plans to invest $24 million to advertise the Cologuard. The deal to market the cancer test runs through 2021. Exact Sciences is currently building a new lab off Schrader Road on Madison's west side and has plans to construct a new $60 million headquarters in University Research Park off Whitney Way.
There's an event today here in southern Wisconsin to train farmers how to cut out food delivery services and restaurants just serve the meals themselves. It's a regional nonprofit called Renewing the Countryside that's hosting what it's calling a Farm Field Day at Campo de Bella in Mount Horeb today, taking advantage of the increased interest out there in so-called farm-to-table meals. The organization will show farmers how they can start hosting their own dinners for customers, help them navigate state regulations when it comes to serving food on a farm. The organizers say they're offering the only food-to-table training program in the country.
Now that we are getting closer and closer to the start of the school year, sorry kiddos, it may be time to talk to your kids about the stress that comes with summer ending.
Yeah, you may be seeing your soon-to-be student acting out in the next few weeks. SSM therapist Britt Kuhlman says the majority of kids experience more anxiety around this time of year. Some younger kids won't even make the connection necessarily between their mood and the upcoming transition. So Kuhlman says it can be important to act as a mirror. Just repeat back what they're feeling and work through it from there.
It's okay for them to have these extra concerns. I don't have to fix it right away. I can be there with them and just hear them out and try not to minimize where they're at. But also it's okay to say, you know, let's problem solve.
Sometimes it's hard to problem solve.
Yeah, no
Kuhlman
kidding.
suggests slowing down ahead of the school year, making sure there's plenty of time for kids to relax, connect with their family members, control their own schedule just a little bit.
Yeah, while they still can, right? And we have weekly tips on your kids' mental health heading back to school and a story on the effects of social media on your students' emotions over on our Time to Talk page. You can find that on channel3000.com/time4kids. And then tonight, Adam, you may want to pay attention to this one. If you need help kind of walking through solving those problems, we are hosting a special Facebook Live event with SSM health experts. They are taking your questions on stress, anxiety, or any other mental health concern heading back to school. That'll go from 5 to 6 on the Channel 3000 Facebook page. You can ask questions live or send them ahead of time by tweeting, posting, or emailing them with that hashtag Time to Talk.
It's going to be interesting. So you're hosting that, right?
Yeah, it'll be great. It's always a great conversation with them.
Yeah.
So
6:24 right now. Two of the Badgers' top receivers will not be in uniform for the start of the season as Wisconsin tries to win a Big Ten championship.
And it's because of a reported sexual assault back in April. The player facing criminal charges in that incident will make his first court appearance today. The morning's top stories are next on News 3 this morning. The UW system could soon change how it documents sexual misconduct allegations against its staff members. We're looking ahead to that conversation.
And as water levels rise, problems continue to grow for drivers across Dane County. The impact the recent rainfall and flooding will have on your morning commute.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to the final half hour of News 3 This Morning, 6:28 now on this Thursday, August 23rd.
If you want to stay tunnel visioned on today, it's going to be a beautiful day today, but the folks in the News 3 weather office and Hattie McLean out on her patio this morning are also looking ahead to an alert day tomorrow for more rain coming. I don't think anybody wants that, Hattie.
No one wants any rain around here, but unfortunately it is in the forecast tomorrow. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let's not skip over today, though. It's a beautiful day today, almost just like yesterday. Sun is up this morning, skies are clear, temperature is 55 at the airport, and winds are calm. Dew point 52 degrees. So we are looking at low humidity once again. Now, humidity will stay low through the day today. Temperatures are in the 50s all across southern Wisconsin, but expect a pretty quick warm up. Through the 60s into the mid 70s by lunchtime today, topping right around 77 here in Madison. One more day to dry out, and boy, do we need it. We are still dealing with many road closures due to the flooding, and the most recent one added to the list, this is East Johnson Street in downtown Madison, closed from North Baldwin to North First Street. That is closed for the foreseeable future as water moves through the system and floods over that road there. Elsewhere across the region, still dealing with ramp closures from the Beltline onto University Avenue in Middleton. Highway 14 is closed in many locations, and we also have closures on Highway 69, Highway 78 from Mazomanie to Black Earth, and Highway 92 near Belleville. Those are the recent closures that we have due to the flooding, and again, keep in mind, more rain in the forecast for tomorrow, so we'll keep you updated on the road conditions. That's your first alert traffic.
Thank you, Hattie. 6:30 now. So as we just heard Hattie mention, in Madison, there's a major street shut down today, and the city is getting ready to possibly even close more in the days and weeks to come.
Right now, flooding around Tenney Park as East Johnson shut down to traffic in that area. Christina Lori's live near Tenney Park with more on the delays and detours you should expect. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, Danica and Adam. It doesn't look like a lot, just a couple inches of water, but it's enough to close East Johnson from North First Street to North Baldwin Street for the foreseeable future. Traffic is being detoured a few blocks south to East Washington, which has made that already heavily trafficked road even busier. At one point during last night's commute, the traffic was backed up nearly the entire stretch of East Washington all the way to the Capitol. Unfortunately, this isn't the only closure drivers downtown will face as water levels continue to rise. East Main Street is also closed at the Yahara River. The water there is completely covering the pass on both sides, and the city says East Washington could even be forced to close sometime next week. If that happens, cars would be detoured all the way to Willie Street. Now, in the meantime, you're asked to leave plenty of time when you're driving around. We don't know how long East Johnson will be closed for, at least the next week, possibly two. Water levels are expected to continue to rise, though, with more rainfall, unfortunately, expected overnight.
And just think if it goes to East Washington, I mean, as it is, all of the beaches are closed because of the high water right now. All right, Christina Laurie reporting on the Near East Side this morning. Thank you. So as we heard Hattie talk about the chances for more rain tonight and tomorrow, emergency officials in Madison are worried about rising lake levels over the next several days. So far, there has not been much flooding downtown, but the city says water release from Lake Mendota and Lake Monona will likely leak into the city's sewers. City engineers are going to brief the public this afternoon and talk about what they are doing to protect homes, businesses, and cars downtown.
Flooding's also affecting train routes coming in and out of Madison this morning. Tracks in the Black Earth area in particular are pretty bad. Crews are calling some of the damage incurable. This means the tracks running from Madison through Dane County and out to Prairie du Chien are cut off this morning. We do want to remind you that our First Alert traffic and weather app has up-to-date information on road closures, and you'll want to keep an eye on that radar over the next 24 hours as well, as we expect more rain to come. This is available for free on your smartphone and mobile device. 6:32 right now, and Wisconsin Badgers wide receiver Quintez Cephas is scheduled to be in court later today on 2 felony counts of sexual assault.
He was the Badgers' leading wide receiver last season. He was suspended from the team on Monday after those criminal charges were filed. Now, a woman told detectives in April that Cephas assaulted her and another woman while they were drunk. He says he's being wrongfully accused and that the encounters were consensual. If he is convicted on both charges, he could face up to 50 years in prison. We'll have an update on the case later today on channel3000.com.
Meanwhile, Cephas's teammate and roommate, wide receiver Danny Davis, is going to be suspended for the first 2 games of the season. According to the criminal complaint against Cephas, Davis was there the night of the alleged assaults and laughed at the women and took pictures while it was going on. Coach Paul Chris says that the suspension could be increased if more information connects Davis to the charges Cephas faces.
UW Board of Regents starts 2 days of meetings here in Madison later today with changes to its sexual misconduct policy on its agenda. The new policy would require universities to disclose behavior to hiring institutions both inside and outside the UW system for faculty and staff. Also requires campuses to ask about sexual misconduct before they hire anybody gets to that finalist stage. Now, the change comes after UW Eau Claire hired an assistant dean without knowing that he had been previously accused of sexual harassment at UW Stevens Point.
A woman faces reckless homicide charges this morning in connection with Janesville's first murder of the year. 20-year-old Serena Stone is accused of stabbing and killing her ex-boyfriend Robert Thomas Jr. late Tuesday night. Police found Thomas Jr. say that Thomas Jr. was stabbed in a parking lot outside the Wall Street apartments on the city's west side. Investigators say Stone stabbed him in the chest before dropping him off at the hospital and then confessing to the crime. Police say the two did have a history of domestic violence. Stone will appear in court for the first time by Monday at the latest.
The committee reviewing how Madison police officers do their jobs is looking at a plan to increase the number of bilingual officers on the force. An outside consultant has discouraged the department from turning to family, friends, or bystanders to translate witness statements from people who can't speak English. That report from the consultant also suggested the department pay bilingual officers more to help provide more language services in the field. The group will also talk tonight about how the department's mental health team reviews its safety concerns. 6:35 right now, a former police officer is suspected of stealing prescription drugs from a Walgreens in Janesville. We will share that story in the morning sprint.
And we have a call for action warning this morning about promises of free money for a cost, of course. The news is back in the morning on News 3 this morning.
6:38 now on this Thursday morning. At the time of the morning, we always ask you to share a little of what's going on in your world. And I picked this picture that Jerry had posted on Facebook. I just thought the calm before the storm. Again, yeah, but what a beautiful shot. Take it in, enjoy it. Thank you so much for sharing, Jerry.
I love when the sun looks that big, when it's either rising or setting. It's just so cool. Jerry, thanks again. What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Use the hashtag MyNews3Morning so we can pick out our favorites and share them here on the program. 6:39 right now, and a Madison woman is calling for action after finding out she had a stake in a more than $3 million estate. Before finding out, she had to give a quarter of that money away.
That's no fun.
No.
Leah Lynchai joins us now to explain why she's not going to get to keep all of her inheritance from that cousin she never knew. Good morning.
Isn't this what everyone wants to wake up and hear? That you're an heir to a multi-million dollar estate.
I could do that.
Yeah, right? Well, it's not the dream that you would expect it to be, at least not for Vicki Fweger. She got a letter in the mail last year from an heir finding company claiming she was a distant relative to a man who had died here in Madison. The company promised to prove she was related for a 25% cut of whatever she got. Vicki signed on, then later learned the estate was much bigger than she'd originally thought, to the tune of $3.4 million. Now she wants to warn others about signing away so much of what might be a huge sum of money.
I want people to be informed. I don't want people to have FedEx packages show up on their doorstep and go, oh my God, I have to sign with these people. You don't.
Now we talked to the company behind the contract who's actually suing Vicki Fweger for defamation. Lawyers for that company say she's misrepresenting what they call their fair, honest, 70-year-old business. Now, we're going to share both sides of this story and what you should do should you ever get a letter like this, fingers crossed, coming up tonight on News 3 at 10.
We were just talking about how often does this happen? Where is my letter?
So listen to this. I have talked to probably half a dozen to a dozen lawyers in Wisconsin, and every one of them says, oh yeah, I've seen a case like this, but I don't really know much about these heir finding companies. We had to go talk to someone from Pennsylvania to find some facts about heir finding companies. So it seems like it's more common than you might imagine, but nobody seems to know exactly what is going on with these heir finding companies. We're going to find out tonight at 10.
All right, fascinating.
It is.
Really, really
Where
interesting.
can I find a distant cousin like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Fingers crossed, told you.
Thank you, Leah.
You're welcome.
It is 6:41 right now. We are looking at a really nice morning, a really nice day today. It's a Chamber of Commerce tourism industry type forecast. Sunny skies, pretty much perfect temperatures, but it's what's coming tonight and tomorrow. Let's let Hattie call for an alert day on Friday. Her forecast is up next.
But first, it is August 23rd, and we want to say happy birthday to little Lennon here and all the kids turning 3 today. Sorry, parents, no excuse weather-wise not to have the bouncy house for the party today. Thanks for celebrating with us here on News 3 this morning. Taking a live look outside right now at East Johnson Street at First Street. You can see all the cones there guiding morning traffic away from flooding on that road. We have more rain in the first alert forecast that's coming up in just a few minutes.
So we are learning more this morning about the man killed this week in the flooding here in Madison. His name was Jim Sewell. He was 70 years old. He was swept away from his car by the rushing water on a West Side street on Monday night. His family says Sewell leaves behind a legacy of working to save some of Wisconsin's historic buildings from flooding, like the Capitol and the Soldiers' Home in Milwaukee. His daughters describe him as a selfless man who liked to tell jokes.
He has such a fan base, and
he was such a big personality, and
he
I
was.
think that's part of the reason that it's such a.
And I think it broke off into both of us.
Is because all of a sudden this giant personality, this wonderful person, is just
gone.
A viewing for Sewell will be held next Wednesday. His funeral is scheduled for next Thursday.
Unfortunately, the words we don't want to hear: more rain in the forecast, Hads.
Yeah, we do. Not today, but tomorrow. But I wanted to start first with Hurricane Lane in the Pacific. Right now, a Category 4 storm, a strong Category 4 with winds around 145 miles an hour. Through the day today, it's going to come close to the Big Island, but then over the next couple of days, turns towards the north and west. But it could breeze areas like Honolulu. You see that within the cone of possibility there. Now, this storm is expected to weaken as it passes by some of those islands, but it'll be a major rainmaker for Hawaii, producing anywhere from 18 to 24 inches of rain in some spots. So definitely not a good scenario there. Very rare for hurricanes to actually make a landfall in Hawaii. Now, we're talking about moisture of a different kind as we go through the day tomorrow. Showers and thunderstorms are expected to return to the area. And again, that has prompted an alert day forecast for southern Wisconsin. There is a slight risk for strong or severe storms as well as heavy rain. Take a look at this precipitation potential map, and it will show you widespread, at least half-an-inch rain totals with this next particular system. Could be up to around an inch, though, in many locations, with parts of southwestern Wisconsin getting even more than that. That severe weather outlook, again, the slight risk area in far southwestern Wisconsin through the day on Friday. I think the best chance for strong to severe storms would be in the afternoon and evening. A live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. Sun is up this morning. Skies are clear. Nothing showing up on the satellite and radar map around here. It'll be a beautiful day today with sunshine in the forecast. Temperatures across the upper Midwest are starting in the 50s and 60s. It's 58 in Des Moines, but 60 in Minneapolis, as well as Chicago. Here in southern Wisconsin, temperatures are generally in the 50s early today, 55 here in Madison. Future track temperatures through the day will climb pretty quickly, mid-70s by lunchtime today, heading to highs in the mid to upper 70s. Again, nothing but sunshine in our forecast. Now, as we go through the evening, you'll notice an increase in the clouds from the west. Rain chances really coming after midnight tonight. So overnight, you may hear some rumbles of thunder. There'll likely be some rain in the area as you head to work tomorrow morning. Then a little bit of a break, but another round of showers and thunderstorms moving through the afternoon and right into Friday night, very early Saturday morning. All the rain, though, should clear the area pretty quickly on Saturday. Here's a look at your extended forecast then. We have temperatures that will stay in the 70s for this week, but for the weekend, we get back into the 80s and heat up around here, mid to upper 80s with plenty of humidity right through next week, the last full week of summer vacation for many kids. Looks like it is going to definitely feel like summer. Here is a pair in our Pet Walk forecast. Brewer and Callie in Madison. I think there's a treat involved in this photo.
Yeah. Yeah,
I just feel like it. Look at those noses.
Good stuff. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Latest road and street closures are coming up next in the Morning Spring.
Almost 6:52, time now for the morning sprint. Hattie says it's going to be a beautiful sunny day before some rain comes back. Leah Linshide's previewing a call for action story about becoming an heir, and the company's trying to cash in on estates.
But we start with Christina Laurie, and news that a major street on Madison's Near East Side is closed this morning because of flooding. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, Adam. East Washington between North First and North Baldwin Street is closed, causing cars to be rerouted here to East Washington Street. Cars are being rerouted. Traffic is already starting to pile up. Unfortunately, this isn't the only closure downtown drivers will face. East Main Street is closed near the Yahara River, and East Washington may be forced to close from rising river levels sometime next week. If that happens, cars here will be detoured all the way to Willie Street.
All right, thank you, Christina. So near where we saw Christina, Dane County opened up the Tenney Lock near Tenney Park, sending up to 6 inches of water downstream from Lake Mendota. That means people living along Lake Monona, Lake Wabeesa, and Lake Kaganza could see flooding in their neighborhoods soon. Monona Grove High School's football team and Dane County jail inmates spent Wednesday filling sandbags to help keep water off waterfront properties.
8 families in Belleville are back in their homes this morning after the Sugar River hit some dangerously high levels earlier this week. The dam there went over its bank Tuesday night, sending water everywhere through the village. That water, though, has gone down several feet since. As the high water moves downstream to the south, there's now concern for people living in places like Albany and Broadhead. We've gotten reports of some minor flooding in those areas, but nothing as of now to require any evacuation.
Mechanics in the area are having to turn people away after hundreds of cars were abandoned in Monday night's flooding. Mechanics at Monona Tire on Madison's west side say that any car driven through the water may have battery, brake, or internal damage.
And our forecast for today does call for another day to dry out. Sunshine and low humidity today. A nice warm up this morning, already in the 60s by 8 o'clock this morning, topping at 77 degrees a little bit later on this afternoon. Now tomorrow is an alert day though. Rain is back in the forecast overnight tonight through Friday. A couple of rounds of showers and thunderstorms with the potential for heavy rain as well as strong to severe thunderstorms. And that's your first alert forecast.
Thank you, Hattie. The big weather story today nationally is in Hawaii, where it's starting to rain right now, and rescue workers are getting ready before Hurricane Lane makes landfall this afternoon as either a Category 3 or 4 storm. The president has already declared a disaster in that state in order to get federal help there faster.
French officials say an attacker stabbed his mom and sister to death before being fatally shot by police overnight. A third victim is in critical condition this morning. This all happened in a Paris suburb. ISIS has claimed responsibility for the knife attack. French anti-terrorism investigators are still on the scene interviewing witnesses this morning. CBS This Morning will have the latest just after 7 o'clock.
The Ohio State University will be without its head football coach for the first 3 games of the season. The school suspended Urban Meyer for his handling of a domestic abuse case involving one of his now former assistants. The school's trustees said Meyer mismanaged the situation but didn't cover up the actions of that assistant coach.
Wisconsin Badger wide receiver Quintez Cephas will be in court later this morning on 2 felony counts of sexual assault. According to court documents, a woman told police in April that Cephas assaulted her and another woman while they were drunk. Now, Cephas says he's been wrongfully accused and that the relationship was consensual. Badger wide receiver Danny Davis is suspended for the first 2 games of the season. The criminal complaint says that he was there the night Cephas assaulted the women and took pictures.
Former Rockford, Illinois police officers, one of 2 people suspected of robbing a Janesville drugstore earlier this summer. Janesville Gazette reports 37-year-old Yulia Kuznets and a partner used a gun to steal prescription drugs from a Walgreens in that city. They are in custody in Illinois now, connected with 2 other robberies. Kuznets was fired in 2013 from the Rockford Department after serving 8 years there as an officer.
A local woman is calling for action over a $3.4 million estate and the company that says she's an heir to it. Vicky Fueger says she got a letter in the mail claiming she was a distant relative to a man who had died here in Madison. The company behind that letter promised to prove she was related for a 25% cut of whatever she got. Vicky signed on, then later learned the estate was in the millions of dollars, and she had just signed away 25% of her portion. Now she wants to warn others about heir-finding companies. We'll share both sides of that story. That's coming up tonight on News 3 at 10.
Thank you very much, Leah. 6:56 now. All sorts of highway and street closures to talk about this morning because of flooding. Let's go to Josh Tim for the latest. Hey, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. All the Beltline is moving well. No problem showing up yet in either direction, although that westbound side is continuing to pick up between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. Looking at roads here in Dane County, yeah, still dealing with lots of flooded roads, especially on Highway 14 between Black Earth and Middleton, along with a road closure on Johnson Street over by Tenney Park on the east side. It's causing inbound East Washington to be quite a bit busier. Make sure you give yourself some extra time. But other main routes heading into the city, including on the interstate, they're cruising along at the usual speeds. No major crashes or delays. For your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh.
It's a nice sunny start to the day today. Temperatures are starting in the 50s this morning. We'll see a nice warm up though to highs in the mid to upper 70s later on this afternoon. Dry through the day today. Rain chances return overnight tonight into Friday. Grab that umbrella, some heavy rain possible as well as potential for severe weather. So tomorrow is an alert day for southern Wisconsin.
Thank you, Hattie. So keeping people up to speed on what's going on, the governor's supposed to be visiting the shelter in Mazomanie today at the grade school there. And city officials here in Madison are going to be talking about what happens next now that East Johnson is closed, whether other streets need to be closed down. The latest on channel3000.com.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.